So let's talk about Aeschylus. Yeah, that name you probably remember from a literature class. But here's the thing. He wasn't just some guy writing ancient plays. We're talking about one of the key architects of Western literature itself. And that brings up a massive question.
I mean, seriously, how do you invent an art form? It sounds like an exaggeration, right? But with Aeschylus, it's really not. We're going to dig into how one person could basically lay the groundwork for something as fundamental as dramatic storytelling.
And this really gets to the heart of it. He didn't just show up and write some killer plays within an existing system. Nope. He built the system. He built the stage, so to speak. He changed the very blueprint of drama, opening up doors for every single playwright who came after him.
All right, first things first. Let's talk about his title, the first great tragedian. To really get why that's such a big deal, you have to picture Athens back in the early 5th century BCE. Drama? It wasn't what we think of today. It was this new, raw thing, still figuring itself out.
So what makes him great? Why that word? Well, before him, a play was more like a ritual, a performance led by a chorus. Aeschylus took that and gave it teeth. He injected it with real conflict, real poetry, real dramatic force. He basically invented what we think of when we hear the word tragedy.
And that leads us to his single most revolutionary innovation. It's something that sounds so simple, you might just miss it. But trust me, this one small change completely altered the course of theater forever.
Okay, look at this. Before Aeschylus, you had one actor on stage with the chorus. That's it. So the actor could tell a story, and the chorus could react to it. But Aeschylus, he added a second actor. And just like that, you have conflict. You have real dialogue.
This second actor is called the deuteragonist, and he was a total game changer. All of a sudden, you could have characters argue. They could lie to each other, confront each other, actual drama. This is the moment theater stops being just a story being told and starts being a story that happens right in front of you.
But here's the other side of Aeschylus. He wasn't just some artsy guy in a room thinking up new ideas. He was a soldier. He lived and fought through one of the most pivotal wars in Greek history, and you better believe that experience shaped every word he wrote.
Just look at this timeline. He fights at the Battle of Marathon. He sees the Battle of Salamis. This wasn't something he read about in a history book. This was his life. He saw the fighting. He saw the fear. And then what does he do? He turns around and puts that fresh, raw experience right on stage for everyone to see. Incredibly brave.
And this is where you see his genius. The play is called The Persians. You'd expect it to be a big hooray for Greece celebration, right? Wrong. He tells the story of the Greek victory from the perspective of the defeated Persians. We see their grief, their shock. I mean, the level of empathy and sheer guts it took to do that is just wow.
So all this experience with war got him thinking about its aftermath, about consequences. And that leads us to his masterpiece, the Oresteia. In this trilogy, he takes on one of the biggest questions humanity has ever faced. How do we stop the cycle of violence? How do we get from pure revenge to real justice?
And the story is just this brutal chain reaction. A king comes home from war and is murdered by his wife. Then, their son is basically forced by honor to kill his own mother to avenge his father. But then he's haunted and hunted by these horrifying spirits of vengeance. See? It's just one act of bloodshed leading directly to the next.
And you know what's crazy? The Oresteia is the only complete trilogy of Greek tragedy that survived. The only one. It's our one and only full look at how these playwrights thought on such an epic scale across 3 whole plays. It's an incredibly precious piece of history.
So what's the point of all this horror? It's right here. The entire trilogy is about the shift from the old way, this never-ending cycle of family blood feuds and personal revenge, to the new way, a system of law, a trial by jury. Aeschylus is literally staging the birth of civic justice.
Okay, so let's put it all together. Why does this ancient playwright still matter so much? When you look back, his legacy isn't just about the plays he wrote, it's about what he made possible for everyone else.
And get this, we think of him as this giant of literature, and we only have 7 of his plays. 7! We know for a fact he wrote over 80. Just let that sink in. It's absolutely mind-boggling to think about what we've lost.
So let's recap his legacy. He gave us the second actor, and with it, he gave us dramatic conflict. He wasn't afraid to tackle the biggest ideas out there: justice, guilt, fate.
He proved that even recent painful history could be powerful art. And he basically built the foundation that all the other great tragedians, like Sophocles and Euripides, would stand on.
And that, right there, is why he's timeless. That central question from the Aristeia, how do we end cycles of violence? How do we choose justice over revenge? You tell me, is that question any less urgent today than it was 2,500 years ago? He was asking the questions that, it turns out, we might never stop asking.